What's up, everybody? I deeply apologize for missing an upload last week. I will try to do better going forward, but Yellowstone is partly to blame for that. This show has consumed my life, as well as its prequel, 1883. Over the past couple of weeks, I have become obsessed with this story of a man that is trying to hold on to something that he will inevitably lose. I mean, maybe. You never know. And you can expect a ton of videos on this show moving forward. But as I binged Yellowstone, I noticed something. There seems to be a lot of similarities between two types of media. Of course, one's a TV show written and directed by Taylor Sheridan called Yellowstone, and the other is a video game, Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. In this video, I'm going to go over Yellowstone and how it's similar to RDR 2. First things first, let's talk about how they are different and what keeps them separate. Obviously, the major difference is that one's a video game and the other is a TV series on Peacock. The main plot of each is a bit different. In RDR 2, it's about a gang of outlaws on the run from the law trying to preserve their way of life as the world around them changes, and as the Wild West begins to become a little less wild. Yellowstone, although about cowboys, is not the same story. Yellowstone is about a rancher in Montana that is fighting to preserve his land and keep the progressive world at bay. Although the stories and plots are not the same, the themes are, and that's the fight against change. The one similarity that first comes to mind is how each form of entertainment has taken over my life at one point or another. I have put in well over 600 hours into RDR 2, and I binge-watched Yellowstone in roughly 4 days. I love Red Dead's story. When I first played it, I fell in love with the narrative of a man called Arthur Morgan trying to fight for what's right, at the same time fighting against a terminal tuberculosis. Same with Yellowstone. When I started on Yellowstone, I was immediately hooked. I live extremely close to where the show was filmed. Literally every shot of the environment looks like my backyard. The story of Yellowstone so far forking slaps. RDR 2 and Yellowstone are both fantastic in the way they tell their stories, and they both share a lot of similarities in their characters. Rip Wheeler is Arthur Morgan because of the way they are loyal to the end. Rip Moore is what I believe Arthur was like before the events of RDR 2. Casey Dutton is John Marston because John had to look out for more than just himself, and Casey has to do the same. Casey and Rip also don't really like each other, just like how Arthur and John don't really like each other. Casey's wife, Monica, is easily comparable to Abigail Marston. Tate is Jack Marston. Kevin Costner's John Dutton is Dutch Vanderland because they both are trying to preserve their way of life. Beth Dutton could either be Micah Bell or Sadie Adler. Jamie Dutton could be compared to Micah or Bill Williamson, but I'm not for sure. Walker is Javier Escuella. Lloyd kept reminding me of Hosea Matthews, but now that I think about it, he's more like Bill Williamson. Chief Thomas Rainwater can at times be like Rains Falls, but other times he can be like Leviticus Cornwall. Same for Mo, but Mo reminds me more of Charles. Those were all the resemblances of the characters that I found and noticed. Now for what really caught my eye about what was so similar about these two pieces of media. The theme. The fight against change. Earlier, I mentioned that Red Dead Redemption 2 was about a gang running away from the law and trying to preserve their way of life. Dutch Vanderland pretty much goes insane, oftentimes saying that the gang just needs a little bit more money and they can leave.
Arthur! Just one more boar? What?
At the beginning of RDR 2, Dutch seems very hopeful and is a very good leader to just about anyone who listens. But as time goes on, and the gang keeps running from the law, Dutch starts to realize that he's not able to fight against the laws of nature, ultimately losing to change. Will we see something like that in Yellowstone? We'll have to wait for season 5, and I think it's very likely. And like in Yellowstone, John Dutton is fighting against the progressive nature of the world, and against the people who want to take his land from him and his family. By season 4, John has fought against numerous people like Dan Jenkins, the Beck brothers, and Rourke Morris. We can't say for sure if John has lost against progress or not, so I can't say it's 100% like Red Dead, just because Yellowstone hasn't ended yet. Those were all of the connections I could find between Yellowstone and Red Dead Redemption 2. And as the show goes on, I think more comparisons can be made. Let me know in the comments if you noticed any more similarities or resemblances that I might have missed. I love both of these two pieces of media, and I think we can learn a ton from them. About life, about how to work hard, about what is right and what is wrong. We can learn a lot about perspective, and that everything isn't always black and white. That some things are better left alone.